Welcome to a day in the life of a potion maker in the magical city of Rafta. I've been asked a ton of times what my daily routine is like, so let me tell you all about it. First, I would like you to know I'm not doing any of this by choice. I inherited a crushing soul debt from my deadbeat uncle, and I will become a slave for eternity if I don't make this work. So my life does revolve around getting the best ingredients for my potions at the lowest cost possible, no matter what it takes. So the first thing I do when I wake up from the old chair that serves as my bed is to do another pass with the mop, because it doesn't matter how well your talking pet owl speaks, he's still a bird and he shits all over the floor. After checking the news for market trends and fluctuations, I head up to the attic where I keep my potted gluttonous limes. They're so cute. When I harvest their regurgitations for extra ingredients, it's important to wear gloves as you cram pure mana into their mouths. You don't want your fingers to melt into a purple goo. Then, once that's done, I head over to my cauldrons and bottle up the potions that brewed overnight. For this batch, I made some high quality stamina potions because I rigged the market for them to sell well today, as well as some pretty standard mana and health potions for the heroes I send out into the wilderness to collect my ingredients. It would be very inconvenient if they drop dead before getting back with my loot. Then I set up the next batches to brew, and this is where I spend the bulk of my early morning. As the quality of my ingredients has increased, so has the complexity of the algebra necessary to formulate my potions. Of course, I'm not going to put in that kind of work, so I just throw ingredients into the cauldrons until the mix feels close enough. Many of these ingredients are still alive when I throw them in, and sometimes I'll spend a few minutes watching their pleading eyeballs melt out of their sockets. It's super fun. I already put together the brews I needed to crush tomorrow's competition, so as usual, my collection is entirely profit-minded. Now that the potions are brewing, it's time to go out and do my rounds around town. Before I head out, I leave my most lackluster brews in the vending machine for people to buy. I don't have time to haggle higher prices for this trash, so I just let my most brain-dead middle-class customers buy it at a measly 15% markup while I'm out doing errands. It's super efficient. So now I'm out in town, and it's super important to visit every one of my business contacts. These loathsome people are nothing but resource dispensers for me, but I pretend like I care about them because that's a small price to pay to get better deals. There's literally nothing I won't say or do, up to and including stringing them along with the semblance of romantic interest. I bring them daily gifts picked from the trash I don't need just to pander to their personal preferences. And if they can see through my insincerity, they turn a blind eye, because every single person in this city will lust after a plucky, freckled, green-eyed redhead, and I'm going to take full advantage of that. The exception being the cat people at the wharf, which works fine by me because I don't trust the services of a species that spends half the day licking their own butt, so I don't want my business to be associated with this gross furry fetish fuel anyway. I would use them as ingredients if it were legal. So my first stop is always the Heroes Guild Hall and its guildmaster, who I commission every day to get me rare ingredients from far-off lands. Now this dude is kind of a bummer. Most of my contacts are women, and none of them are as feminine as this fairy. I get stained with oil just by standing in his proximity. I try to swallow my vomit as he fawns over his daily flower gift and patiently wait for him to be done blathering about the price of lavender or whatever the hell. Ma'am, just put my ingredients in the bag and I will regretfully see you tomorrow. Since I'm already here, I take care of my heroes next. I've manipulated every one of these absolute fools to risk their lives getting me loot, and all they ask in return is a few gold coins and enough potions to survive the ordeal, so I have no trouble giving them my leftovers and the foul-tasting flukes that won't sell very well. They all think they'll eventually get into my panties, and I have no trouble dangling that promise in front of them for as long as they keep working for me. It's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. They spend all day outside toiling for me, so before they head out, I make sure to give them another tiny morsel of my attention to keep them on a tight leash. At least they're nice to look at, even the Arab and the black one. It really wouldn't be that much of a sacrifice to allow them to go questing south of the border if it comes down to it. Now, I could use a new shelf for my potions, so I brace myself to face the walrus man. This creature is always yelling and boasting about his muscles. Buddy, check yourself, you brought a keg to the party instead of a six-pack. His is not the type of girth I look for in a man, let alone an abominable walrus monstrosity. I don't even know why they allow these eyesore inside of the city walls, but I suppose it's convenient to save myself the delivery fee. So I throw some fish at him to keep the discounts coming and move on to my next stop, which is the marketing agency. I barely have to try with what's her name. I just call her Moth Girl. She's social media obsessed and won't stop looking at her phone. I just tell her my marketing plans and she gets on it. That's all I care about. I know I should be building this connection for more free stuff, but her entire body is repulsive. I can barely get through our meetings without retching, so I get out of there as soon as I can. Before heading back to the shop, I go out to the forest in the outskirts. Over there lives the best woodworker in town, and I don't settle for less, no matter how unsavory the species. This woodland creature thinks we're in love, and that's why she's fixed up my whole shop at a 20% discount. I'm sorry, girl, you might look like a fine cougar from the belly up, but you couldn't give me enough treesap wine for me to bump uglies with a half-goat or whatever the hell you are. She's fond of slime, so I drop it on the floor for her to slurp or whatever. My social battery is exhausted by this point, but there are still 2 more people to visit. This literal hobo squats in a tree, and I only tolerate it because she's my provider of bulk product. This gender-confused girl is as flat as my parents' pulse and suffers from obvious mental illness, which makes her that much easier to manipulate. For this kind of people, you only need to give them a little bit of attention and they'll become simps for life. She literally eats the slime off my gloves. Sometimes it's so easy I almost feel guilty. Before I take care of my gardening and my afternoon brews, I make one last social call, and this one is in my own basement. I allowed Roxanne to set up shop down here after I publicly humiliated her in my first contest, and every day she will enchant my potions to fool the rubes upstairs into thinking they taste good. She's fully dependent on my charity, which really works in my favor. Roxanne is a succubus with a hidden heart of gold. She truly is best girl, and I'll gouge your eyes out with my ladle if you disagree. I've been slowly breaking down her reticence to get on board with my Sigma grind set. We've made great strides together, and soon I'll get her grinding in a different way. It's not like she's got an alternative, she's got nowhere else to go. She's pretty much realized she has to do everything I say, and I'm quite certain she's into it. Don't worry, she's a succubus demon. She's used to this kind of dynamic, and she doesn't think it's weird when I rest my head in her lap and call her mommy. So now it's finally time to do another round of gardening and brewing before opening up the shop. It's all very much part of my routine at this point. I'm really happy with how the stamina potions turned out, and the bottle is so cute. I leave another set of batches brewing, and now it's time to get ready for business hours. First, I make sure the shop and my shelves all look as good as can be, down to the last speck of dust. It's been such a long journey from that rundown shack I inherited. I'm really proud of all my accomplishments getting this far. I make sure to put the prettiest potions up on display to reel in as many marks as possible, and I stock the ones I want to sell for the night, mostly all the stamina potions that everyone's been duped into seeking out. And I also set up some more garbage at the vending machine that's just not worth my time. And that's it! I'm ready to haggle! Open the doors! I open my shop at night because that's when all the addicts and weirdos come out. It's much easier to talk them into emptying their pockets. I used to be really bad at this. It made me so nervous when I first started out, but with a little bit of practice and a complete lack of scruples, you really get to swindle this parade of imbeciles for nearly double market price markup. It's truly astounding the amount of money these people will drop on my counter. Roxanne has rubbed off on me in more ways than one, so currently I'm resorting to extreme flattery, pandering, and emotional manipulation. It works really well, and later on I only need to spend a few minutes doing breathing exercises to work through all the resulting mountains of self-loathing. It does take a little while to find my rhythm, but once I do, I am running circles around every sale. Sometimes the people I've pretended to befriend turn up as customers, and that's when I take the chance to take my money back from their grubby hands. I try extra hard to overcharge them an exorbitant amount and use our friendship as a shield if they complain. When the haggling is finally over, I kick out any remaining wannabe customers and tally up the night's haul. Those stamina potions were a big hit. I'm now one step closer to complete market domination. I sweep and mop up the shop. It's boring but has to be done, and get ready to pass out on my chair again, happy in the knowledge I maximize my profits and I'm fully prepared to destroy the stupid looking shark man in tomorrow's competition. I'll be real, I can't believe it's even legal for this life form to step within city limits. Back where I come from, we would use people like him for soup, but it really doesn't matter. I just need to keep winning these competition prizes to keep the debt collector at bay. It is a bit of a crushing weight on my soul, and I fear it will swallow me whole. Anyway, that was a day in the life of a Rafta potion maker. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, leave me a like and subscribe for more wholesome content like this. Have a good one!